36 hours. One loss. And now Alex Eala has to do it all over again. Alex Eala played her Berlin semifinal against Linda Noskova on June 20th. And with the Bad Homburg tournament scheduled to begin around June 22nd, she is heading into that next event carrying the weight of a disappointing semifinal defeat with barely any time to regroup. This rapid turnaround is one of the most important storylines surrounding her week, and perhaps one of the most underappreciated. Roughly 36 hours separate the moment Eala walked off the grass at Berlin's Steffi Graf Stadium after her semi-final loss to Noskova and the moment she is expected to step onto another patch of German grass at TC Bad Homburg to face Elise Mertens in the opening round of a WTA 500 event. Somewhere within that narrow window between one tournament ending and another beginning lies the question that could define this entire stage of her 2026 season. What do you do with momentum that was interrupted just before it reached its peak? Because Eala's run in Berlin was anything but ordinary. It was the kind of breakthrough week that forces the rest of the tour to take notice and completely reassess what they thought they knew about a rising player. Match after match, she demonstrated confidence, composure, and a level of grass-court tennis that exceeded every reasonable expectation. What she built in Berlin, her opening round victory, immediately set the tone. She defeated Donna Vekic, the freshly crowned Queen's Club champion, in straight sets, 7-5, 6-4. It was a statement win that announced her presence from the very first day and signaled that something significant was building. Then came world number 2 Elena Rybakina, a two-time Grand Slam champion whose devastating first serve can end rallies before they even properly begin. Yet she too fell in straight sets, 7-5, 6-4. In one of the most impressive statistical performances of the entire tournament, Eala won 19 points on Rybakina's second serve, more than doubling Rybakina's own total on that metric. The quarterfinal presented yet another formidable challenge in world number 8 Alina Svitolina. But the result was even more convincing. Eala secured a 6-3, 6-4 victory in a match that lasted just 83 minutes and rarely looked in serious doubt after the opening 3 games. 3 rounds. 2 top 10 victories. Not a single set dropped. The 21-year-old from the Philippines was playing the finest grass-court tennis of her career. When Linda Noskova finally brought the run to an end with a 6-2, 6-4 semi-final victory that lasted just over an hour, the suddenness of the defeat almost felt jarring. Eala won only 40 of the match's 103 total points while Noskova dominated behind her serve, firing 9 aces and breaking Eala 4 times. The performance was efficient, clinical, and completely decisive. Most importantly, it arrived at the exact moment when Eala's story seemed to be building towards something even greater. 2 truths she carries into Bad Homburg now. As Eala heads to Bad Homburg, she carries 2 seemingly contradictory truths with her. On one hand, she is coming off the most impressive grass-court stretch of her career, a week that proved beyond any doubt that she can compete with and defeat some of the very best players in the world. On the other, she is arriving fresh from a loss that exposed the fine margins that still separate a breakthrough run from a genuine championship opportunity. The first truth is the memory of what her game felt like when everything was working perfectly. Her return timing was sharp, her court positioning was aggressive, and she consistently stepped inside the baseline to take the ball early, redirecting pace into angles that became especially dangerous on grass. For much of the week, she played with a level of confidence and clarity that allowed her to dictate points against some of the tour's most accomplished players. The second truth is what happened when Linda Noskova took those exact strengths away. By serving with precision and controlling rallies from the very first shot of each exchange, Noskova prevented Eala from establishing the rhythm that had carried her so impressively through the earlier rounds. Both experiences are equally real. Both occurred within the span of just 4 days. And layered on top of them is the physical reality of competing in 4 matches across 5 days at a WTA 500 event, including 3 demanding contests against top 30 opponents. That kind of workload leaves a mark regardless of how much momentum and adrenaline a player is carrying. Why Elise Mertens is no routine opponent. This is precisely why Eala's opening round matchup against Elise Mertens is far more intriguing than it might initially appear, and why treating Mertens as a routine first-round obstacle would be a significant mistake. The Belgian arrives with her own credentials and plenty of grass court experience. To understand the challenge Eala faces, it is important to look at what Mertens has been doing throughout the 2026 grass court season. Just 2 weeks ago, she returned to defend her title at the Libema Open in Hertogenbosch, the tournament where she had captured the 10th singles title of her career in 2025, and the first of those titles on grass. That triumph had become one of the defining moments of her recent career, especially after she survived an astonishing 11 match points throughout the tournament on her way to claiming the championship. This time around, however, her title defense came to an earlier-than-expected conclusion, a sharp reminder of how quickly fortunes can shift during the short and unforgiving grass court season. Mertens began her grass court season with a convincing 6-1, 6-3 victory over Bianca Andreescu in the opening round, looking composed, organized, and completely in control of her game. However, her title defense quickly unraveled in the round of 16 when she faced Elena Gabriela Ruse, the same player she had defeated in the previous year's final. This time, Ruse turned the tables entirely, claiming a 6-3, 6-3 victory. The defeat was particularly frustrating for Mertens, not only because it came against a familiar opponent, but because Ruse's flat, penetrating ground strokes and relentless pace denied her the rhythm she typically relies on. At her best, Mertens is an excellent counterpuncher who gradually imposes her patterns on a match. But against Ruse, she often appeared reactive rather than proactive. Berlin offered a similar mixture of promise and disappointment. Mertens opened her campaign against Ludmila Samsonova and looked headed for an early exit after dropping the first set 1-6. Yet she responded impressively, raising her level dramatically to take the next 2 sets 6-3, 6-0, and complete one of the tournament's more memorable comebacks. The momentum did not last. In the round of 16, Marketa Vondrousova proved too strong, defeating her 6-1, 6-4, and bringing her Berlin run to an end. As a result, Mertens arrives in Bad Homburg with a 3-2 grass court record for the 2026 season. Neither exceptional nor disappointing, simply solid, which in many ways reflects the broader story of her career. Currently ranked world number 24, she has built her reputation through consistency, discipline, and steady results rather than spectacular peaks. History between these two players. What makes Mertens particularly dangerous in this matchup, however, is history. Mertens has faced Eala before, and the result was emphatic. Their only previous meeting came at the 2023 Jasmine Open in Monastir, Tunisia, on hard courts. At the time, Eala was still a teenager learning how to navigate the highest level of professional tennis, while Mertens was a seasoned, established top player. The Belgian controlled the match from the outset and secured a convincing 7-5, 6-0 victory. While that result came nearly 3 years ago and under very different circumstances, it still provides a useful reference point. Mertens knows she has beaten Eala before, and Eala enters this match determined to show just how much her game has evolved since that one-sided defeat. That second set is worth examining for a moment. A 6-0 scoreline, a bagel, is never just a number. In the opening set of their 2023 meeting, Eala competed well, pushed the contest all the way to 7-5, and showed genuine flashes of the player she could become. But once Mertens gained control, she completely shut the door. She did not overwhelm Eala with raw power or any single dominant weapon. Instead, she dismantled her through precision, depth, court positioning, and the kind of tactical intelligence that only comes from nearly 800 WTA-level matches. Mertens has long mastered the art of taking time away from opponents without appearing to hit the ball particularly hard, and that experience proved absolutely decisive. The critical context, however, is that the player Mertens defeated that day is not the same player preparing to face her now. At the time, Eala was ranked outside the world's top 100 and still learning how to handle the psychological and tactical demands of high-level professional tennis. She was a talented prospect trying to figure out how to navigate the moments when matches tighten and momentum swings become decisive. The version of Eala that arrived in Berlin this past week is a far more complete competitor. She now owns 5 career victories over top 10 opponents, a statistic that would have seemed almost unimaginable when she faced Mertens in Tunisia. Her recent results tell the story of that growth clearly. Just 2 weeks ago, she captured the Birmingham Open title, displaying real resilience and maturity by coming back from a set down against Bensic in the final to win 5-7, 6-3, 7-5. That kind of comeback is often a marker of a player who has learned how to solve problems under pressure rather than simply rely on natural talent. Her overall grass court record now stands at 15 wins and 8 losses, a winning percentage of more than 65% that places her among the most effective grass court performers within her ranking range. Meanwhile, her career-high ranking of world number 29, achieved following a 4th-round run at Indian Wells, captures only part of her development. Rankings measure results, but they do not always capture the speed at which a player's game is genuinely evolving. Over the past few months, Eala has not merely improved her ranking. She has changed the way opponents view her entirely. Players who once saw a promising young prospect now see a legitimate threat capable of beating elite competition on any given day, especially on grass, where her aggressive returning and early ball striking have become increasingly dangerous weapons. The gap between the Alex Eala, who lost 7-5, 6-0 to Elise Mertens in Tunisia in 2023, and the Alex Eala, who defeated Elena Rybakina and Alina Svitolina on consecutive days in Berlin, is far greater than any ranking chart can illustrate. The confidence, tactical awareness, and shot-making ability she displayed in Berlin reflected a player who has taken significant steps forward in a remarkably short period of time. How to watch for those planning to follow the match. The Bad Homburg Open is being broadcast on Tennis Channel throughout much of the Americas. International viewers can check regional providers such as Amazon Prime Video and other local broadcasters, while the WTA's official website provides a complete list of viewing options by country. The match is scheduled for Sunday, June 22nd, as part of the opening round action at TC Bad Homburg. The tactical picture, a mirror match with critical differences from a tactical perspective, this matchup is particularly compelling. At 30 years old, Elise Mertens is a player whose on-court identity is firmly established. She relies on flat, penetrating ground strokes, especially from the backhand side, using depth and precision to push opponents behind the baseline and gradually take control of rallies. Her career has been built on methodical point construction rather than overwhelming power. She is also one of the stronger returners on the WTA Tour, capable of neutralizing big first serves and consistently forcing opponents to play difficult points behind their second serve. Another major component of Mertens' game is her ability at the net. A 6-time Grand Slam doubles champion and one of the top-ranked doubles players in the world, she possesses a comfort level at the front of the court that many singles specialists never develop. Years of elite doubles competition have given her exceptional instincts when closing out points, and that skill becomes even more valuable on grass. More than any other surface, grass rewards players who are willing to move forward, finish with clean volleys, and shorten exchanges before opponents can settle into any kind of rhythm. For Mertens, approaching the net is not a last resort. It is an integral part of her overall strategy. Her affection for grass courts makes complete sense when viewed through that lens. Although only one of her 10 career singles titles has come on the surface, grass complements many of her natural strengths. Her flat ball trajectory stays low and skids through the court, preventing opponents from setting up comfortably. Her backhand, already her most reliable weapon, becomes even more dangerous when the bounce stays below waist height and reaction times are reduced. Yet the same conditions that benefit Mertens have increasingly become an advantage for Eala as well. One of the most impressive developments in Eala's game has been the growth of her return of serve. Already a strength on hard courts, it has become a genuine weapon on grass, where quick reactions and decisive positioning are rewarded above almost everything else. Her performance against Rybakina in Berlin highlighted that evolution perfectly. Against one of the biggest servers in women's tennis, Eala won 58.3% of second serve return points, a remarkable figure that helped swing the match firmly in her favor. Against Svitolina, meanwhile, She refused to allow rallies to settle into the grinding defensive patterns that have long been a hallmark of the Ukrainians' game. By taking the ball early and flattening out her ground strokes, Eala consistently dictated the tempo throughout. That is what makes this matchup so genuinely fascinating. Both Eala and Mertens are players who seek to take time away from their opponents. Both hit relatively flat from the baseline. Both excel as returners. Both possess enough confidence at the net to finish points there when opportunities present themselves. In many respects, this resembles a mirror match, with the key differences lying in experience, physical freshness, and current momentum. Experience versus freshness. Where the match could be won or lost, the experience advantage unquestionably belongs to Mertens. Across her career, she has accumulated nearly 800 WTA singles matches, reached a Grand Slam semifinal, defeated former world number one players, and won titles across multiple surfaces. She has also represented Belgium extensively in Billie Jean King Cup competition, compiling a strong record while carrying the weight of national expectations. Those experiences create a level of composure that can only be developed through years at the very highest level of the sport. Eala's resume is naturally much shorter. At just 21 years old, and in only her third full season on the WTA Tour, she is still building the foundation of what could become a lengthy and highly successful career. The results in Berlin demonstrated that she can compete with and beat elite players on grass. The next challenge is proving that such performances are not isolated breakthroughs, but part of a new and sustainable standard. Producing excellence for one remarkable week is difficult. Reproducing it consistently over months and years is what ultimately separates contenders from established stars. This opening round clash against Mertens offers another opportunity to show that her recent rise is not a temporary surge, but the beginning of something much larger. The freshness advantage, however, is very real and could prove decisive. Mertens arrives in Bad Homburg without the physical wear and tear that almost always accompanies a deep tournament run. Her earlier exit in Berlin afforded her several extra days to recover, practice, and prepare specifically for this opening round matchup. Eala's situation is considerably different. Over the past 5 days, she has played 4 demanding matches, including consecutive victories over top 10 opponents before her semi-final loss to Noskova. A run to the Final Four of a WTA 500 event extracts a significant physical toll, even from a 21-year-old athlete operating at peak fitness. On grass, fatigue reveals itself in subtle but important ways. The first step toward a wide ball becomes fractionally slower. Return positioning remains correct, but the split-step timing drifts by just a fraction of a second. The legs do not generate quite the same power on serve, and recovery between points becomes slightly less efficient. None of these differences appear dramatic in isolation, but grass is a surface where margins are already razor-thin. Small declines in reaction time or movement can have outsized consequences because points unfold so quickly and opportunities are so limited. The question is not whether Eala is capable of beating Elise Mertens. Berlin proved she belongs at this level. The question is whether she can do it on 36 hours of rest, carrying the emotional weight of a semi-final that ended before she was ready for it to. That is the story heading into Bad Homburg. And it is one worth watching very closely. Stay locked in for every update, every breakdown, and every match that matters. This is Tennis Unfiltered.